Welcome back. Week 2 of Bets for Bombs. I am Joseph Lim. We are with the president of Love the Action, Tyler Melby, and then also the professor. He's not in the lab today. He's got a nice skyline view in the back for us, Michael Schaefer, bringing you guys the best picks, not only for football, but any other sport locks that we see going on. Last week, first week, guys, what are your impressions of everything that was happening?
Didn't do too bad. College kind of threw me for a loop on the ones I didn't pick that I bet. But I went 2-1-1, 2-1-1 total. I think no, 2-2-1. I think.
Yeah, I think I had the stats around here somewhere. I think I was 1-2. I think Melby was 2-1, and Michael was 2-0-1 with a push. As far as NFL, we didn't even fucking come close to hitting on the Monday Night Football. Any of us. I don't know if anyone did who bet that game, unless you're living in Seattle right now. That was a fucking shit show. That entire. I was on the plane watching that, and the funny thing was, is I was coming from Denver, so a bunch of fucking Bronco fans. And I think 75% of that, and the dude next to me was losing his shit. He could not even, his hands were up in the air half the fucking flight of what was going on. It was hilarious. I was dying laughing. I had money on the Broncos too, obviously, so I wasn't happy about it, but I wasn't to the point where I was almost disrupting the flight at certain points. So good game though overall. Crazy to see Russ and some of the options. A lot of fumbles at the fucking 1 yard line. Where the hell that is? Hold on to the fucking ball. My personal preference, I don't know about you guys, QB sneak, read option when you have Russell Wilson. Put the ball in that guy's hands, let him see what he can do. They got within the 10, 3 times? They only came out with 3 points. That's can't have that. Can't have that in the NFL and expect
Turnovers
to win.
cost them.
Turnovers cost them. They were late to the fucking line every single time. It felt like it was going to be a delayed game every fucking snap they had. So just a crazy shit happening. Other stuff in the NFL, my team, the Niners, fucking played through a hurricane in Chicago. That was a fucking crazy second half that we had there. Literally not a chance. This week again, though, a little bit of a foreshadowing of what my pick's going to be. Rough weather headed towards San Francisco again. Rough weather headed towards San Francisco again. And that line for the Seahawks is looking tasty, real tasty. So we'll get into more of that a little bit later. But yeah, not a horrible start for us. No one missed completely. College. How'd you guys do on your college picks? I think you both went 2-1.
Mm-hmm.
UTSA game. Bonkers of a game. I know, like halfway through, they were down. I was like, fuck it. I'm going money line on UTSA. We're riding hard again. That game goes fucking crazy. A great week of football again. It's just great to be back in there overall. So UFC, also great weekend. Hamzat submission, easy. All day, plus 225, easy. Take it to the bank. Never had a chance. I don't know if you guys even saw that fight. That fight was savage. Literally, they come out. Guy tries to touch gloves with Hamzat. He says, psych, grapple. Grapples him to the ground, choked him out in 2 minutes. Literally went straight at him, out in 2 minutes. I went fucking crazy. I was like, I knew that was happening. So a lot of events happening, a lot of crazy stuff happening in the sports world. What'd you say?
Diaz.
That was a crazy fight too. If you guys were able to watch that, Nate Diaz is literally a showman in the ring, or in the octagon, I guess. Literally taking breaks during the fight, and then throwing him in a guillotine after Tony Ferguson's pushing the entire time. It felt like Nate Diaz was literally just waiting for Tony to shoot on him so that he could throw him in the guillotine. And then classic Nate throwing up the fucking flex as Tony's still in the guillotine, getting fucking choked out. Just a great way for him to end his career. Called it that he was going to retire. He said, maybe I'll come back. But then in the post conference, he was like, I'm not fucking coming back to the UFC. So called that he was going to be out. I honestly think Tony Ferguson, if he does get another match, he's probably done. It was a shit fight from him as well. But a lot of good events going on. So, but we're not going to mess around this week because we messed around last week and we probably could have, Shafe had a great week. But Tyler, Melby, and myself, we could have had a better week. So we're not going to fuck around this week. We're going to fucking get into it. And, we've been doing the research. We've been crunching the numbers. Shafe had a great week. Could take a vacation away from the lab. It doesn't have to be in the lab when you put up good numbers, but you fucking start putting up 1 and 2s, 0 and 3s. You got to get back in the fucking lab every now and then. So we're gonna get into it again. And also, just a shout out to that Facebook group, Love the Action. If you guys aren't in that, go in that. A lot of good picks. I was going in there all day. I mean, I threw that Hamzat pick in there. We're throwing our picks in there. A lot of winners, it seems like, that's going on in there. So it's a fun group, honestly, especially when football season rolls around. And the college, what is it, the pick'em or the confidence pool that you do? That's so much fucking fun. So much fucking fun. And gives you like more games to watch and actually be invested in for free. You know what I mean? To watch that and be like, yeah, I'm invested for free now. This is what I'm watching, 5 games now, rather than just rooting for a couple bets. Have to hop on that. It's a lot of fun. So if you haven't been on there, Facebook, Love the Action. The president himself joins us every Wednesday for this. It's an honor. It's an honor, Mr. President, to be on this with you. So we're gonna get into it though. We're gonna, once again, these guys, they do their NCAA picks. Once again, I've been hearing Shafe betting a little tennis here and there. Maybe didn't have the best day today. Maybe he stays away. Maybe he throws a lock in there for us. As far as UFC goes, really not a big event until October, but that October pay-per-view is fucking stacked. Fucking stacked. We got 2 title fights along with Peter Yan and Sean O'Malley fighting as the 3rd fight in there. It's just going to be fucking a stacked card. You're going to get literally an hour and a half of just chaos going on. So as we get closer to that, I'll tell you what the locks are. I'll let you know what the locks are. And we'll go from there.
UFC show right there.
I could, I've talked to Cormier about it, but Ryan Clark's got me pinned out in that ESPN2 thing that they show at like midnight on fucking Tuesday. I'm like, Cormier, you throw me in there, get to the 11:30 slot. Now we don't have to wait for midnight. We can go 11:30, 11. ESPN2's got nothing on that time. So, but let's get into it, gentlemen. NCAA, another fun week coming up. Big games last week. Alabama barely escaped. A lot of people were taking that spread throughout the entire time. It was like, this doesn't even look good. Texas quarterback gets hurt. They're still staying in it somehow. A lot of crazy things across a lot of overtimes last week too. If you guys noticed that, a shitload of overtimes. I feel like every other game was going to overtime. So what we're just going to get into it. Like I said, going to start with the man who proved himself last week to, if you put time in the lab, you put the white coat on, you get the robots working for you, you're going to get some good picks. Shafe, what do you got for us this week going into the NCAA week 2 for those at home?
Yeah, I'll start. Let's go with Pitt over Western Michigan. This is kind of a revenge game. I know Pitt got a little banged up with quarterbacks. Patty got hurt. Slovis got hurt. Patty ended up finishing. They ended up losing to Tennessee, but I believe they still covered that line. But they lost to Western Michigan last year. So I'm sure they want to come back and revenge that game. Western Michigan is not very good. They didn't really return any starters. And I'm just going to count on that Pitt O-line to just run the ball heavy. I think Western Michigan's given up 197 rush yards a game. And with 5 returning O-linemen for Pitt, there should be no excuses. They should be able to dominate them physically up front. Whether Patty or Slovis is playing, I think they'll still dominate this game. So I got them at minus 9.5. It's 130 or minus 130 on DraftKings. I bought the hook. I just didn't want to push at 10. So I'm going to go with Pitt minus 9.5. I think they win this by 2 touchdowns, maybe even dominate this game. I just don't think Western Michigan can stick with them this year.
Yeah, I mean, Pitt looked great too in that West Virginia game as well. I thought there's real dogs out there. Western Michigan hasn't been able to prove themselves. So I actually like that pick. 9.5. I'm sure you're only losing a little bit of juice if you're going with the 10, saving you from that push. That's possible to happen with that 10. So smart play there. I really like that. Mr. President, I mean, what do you got for us week 1 on the NCAA?
So I watched a lot of football this weekend. Sat there and watched all day.
And I'm sorry to interrupt you, but if you didn't watch a lot of football this past weekend, you should probably just turn this off. And this is not what you should be watching. If you're not dedicating at least, 8 to 12 hours on Saturday and Sunday to football, then who the fuck are you? Sorry to interrupt you, but just had to make that clear. Go ahead and put it in.
That's the truth. That's what it's about, man. Putting the time, putting hours. So first game I'm looking at Coastal Carolina minus 13.5. Buffalo is a trash football team. Just trash. Their defense is awful. Coastal's going to put up 50. I think it's an easy cover. First one, lock it in. Coastal Carolina minus 13.5. Grayson McCall, 5 touchdowns.
What's the line on that though?
I got 13.5 yesterday.
I mean 13.5. Is it like minus 110, minus 115?
Yeah, about minus 110, I think it was.
And it's at 13.5 right now. Do we know that? Can we confirm or?
It's at 14 now.
Okay, so buy the hook.
Buy the hook.
Take the hook.
Buffalo lost to Holy Cross last weekend on a Hail Mary.
And a lot of people are going to jump on that. I mean, it's Holy Cross, but believe the hype. Buffalo sucks.
Believe the hype.
Fair bet there.
And these are the first starting picks. So I feel like these are the ones you guys have to have the most confidence in. You got to throw your ace out there, your starting pitcher. And that's what this is. Maybe maybe that's why he's different. Has the closer.
Just jumping around. I'm just jumping around
over there, waiting for the third and final pick to lock it in. So let's get on to it then, Shafe. What do you got for number 2 for us?
Number 2, I'm just going to keep riding this train. I've rode it all year so far. USC minus 11.5, going up against Fresno State. I watched Fresno State, I think it was Portland or Portland State this year, one night at like 1 a.m. I mean, who's not watching 1 a.m. college football? But they didn't look too good. It took them the second half to really create some. It took them the second half to really create some separation. I know they're returning that one QB that's played well, but I mean, to me, he looks like he's kind of hit his ceiling and hasn't really improved. And USC's offense has been dominant, just putting up points. And their defenses look good, creating turnovers left and right. They kind of dominated Stanford, who just scored a couple at the end. That kind of made that game look a little closer than it was. So I'm going to keep riding this train till it falls off. I got USC minus 11.5 at minus 125 against Fresno. I think they easily cover this.
Is that what the line originally is 11.5, no hooks?
It was 11.5, then it went up to 12, so I just bought the hook back down to 11.5. I mean, either's going to be fine.
Kind of a weird number, but you never know what can happen in football.
4 field goals, you never know.
Who fucking knows? All right, well, let's just we're not messing around today. We're just really getting into it. I fucking love it. Melby, pick 2.
Oh, yeah, right to business. So, Utah, minus 21. San Diego State, not a good team.
Ooh, it's a big line. Big line.
Good team.
All right.
Utah plays much better at home. They're a really good football team. Florida, it was a swamp. It just got to them. Week 1, this is a really good football team. San Diego State is a really bad football team compared to what they've been. Mm-hmm. Good line. Utah, minus 21.
And who are they playing?
San Diego State.
So you got them at minus 21. So just to put that in comparison, Shafe has taken 9.5 game 1, 11.5 game 2. Mel was going 13.5 on his first pick and then 21.5. So his teams are, totaled up are going to win by about 60 in order to cover.
That's another thing with college football. Some of these lines are ridiculous. Like Michigan was like 54 one game. I mean, Ohio State is like 49. No, they didn't cover.
I saw a stat that it's been 1 in 12 when a line's been over 50.
You're literally expecting all the starters to score every possession, get stops, and then if they put the backups in, you're expecting the backups to go down and dominate as well. Some of these lines are crazy.
Fucking lay down and take it. It was no touchdowns probably scored, just fucking them.
And they're letting off the gas. Let's be honest. If you're up Ohio State, I thought they were playing Stroud way too late last week. They were up by 30. Just pull them, unless you got money on the game. If you're the coach, I don't know what he was doing in the game, but I would have pulled him. But
statement game.
Yeah, it's some of these lines are pretty ridiculous though.
So what do you got for your third line then? For your third pick?
Third one, I'm gonna go with Penn State minus 2.5 over Auburn. I just think Penn State's a much better team. Auburn just really has not shown me anything. They struggled to beat San Jose State. That's another team I watched late on week 1. They played Portland State and beat them at the buzzer. Portland State. And then how does an SEC team almost lose to San Jose State, who barely beat Portland State? So I think Penn State's a much better football team all around. I do not believe in the quarterback for Auburn. I think his name's Finley. He's been wishy-washy for 2 years there. So I'm going to take Penn State to just keep it rolling. I got a -2.5, -125. I think that's a phenomenal number. I know they're on the road and they tend to struggle on the road against SEC teams, but I think they turn it around this week, get the W.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. So Penn State 2.5 going against Auburn should be a really good game though.
Yeah, it's on CBS, I think at 3:30.
Yeah, I mean that's the shit you hear, like literally we got these big spreads, and then we got a 2.5, coming at it. So I like the smaller spreads, especially in college. Obviously, a little bit easier to cover. What do you got for a third and final, President?
Well, first, just on that game, first initial glance, I was on Penn State for sure. Much better team. I'm an Auburn fan, so I think I'd be biased. I just always liked them, Bo Nix. But they play really good at home, man. That home field advantage. I mean, watch what they did against Alabama last year. I mean, that was a 21-point spread, and they almost beat them. So it's just
they were at home against San Jose State, beat them 24-16 last week. I mean, they're struggling. San Jose State.
They come ready for the big games. I mean,
San Jose State. They beat Portland State 21-17, and they scored in the last minute.
It's a trash team. I'm with you. I would just be a little worried about the home field. I mean, they'll be robbed.
Yeah, like I said, Penn State. The only thing that worries me is they're 1-6 recently against the SEC. But I mean, the SEC gets way too much love from bookmakers and rankings that I think Auburn's gonna have a real bad down year this year.
It's fair.
So my third and final, getting a little frisky here. So I like SMU a lot. I like Tanner Mordecai. get a little sprinkle on that plus money line. You know what I'm saying? Tanner Mordecai, senior for SMU. I mean, he just puts up numbers. This over/under was at 73.5. So both these teams are going to put up a lot of points. My thing is, I think SMU's defense will slow down Tagovailoa more than Maryland's defense will slow down SMU. You're getting plus money on SMU. I think they're the better team. I'm taking the money line. I think it's at plus 125, but Joe, if you can check me on that, I'm just going straight money line for the win.
What do you want me to check that again? The SMU.
I think it's SMU against Maryland. I think it's at plus 125 on the money line. They're getting like 2.5 points.
I think it is. Last I saw it was. I'm on ESPN, so it's not usually. It doesn't usually match up, but ESPN has them at plus 122, so I'm guessing it's probably close to that.
All right.
And
so line 2.5. So plus 2.5 for SMU, and then money line you're going to get plus 125 on those odds. Over's at 74 even right now. Over under. So, I mean, there's our three picks right there. I mean, we got Pitt at 9.5 for Shafe, and then he's going USC 11.5, and then to finish off Penn State 2.5. Melby running it back with Coastal Carolina 13.5, Utah 21.5, and then SMU straight up money line. That's the kicker right there. I mean, that's big time if they hit. So, taking those underdogs,
Oh yeah.
I like it. I like what we have here, So those are the picks. We're going to post them we'll get those out as soon as possible. I think those are all Saturday games, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay, cool. We'll get those out to you guys probably tomorrow. Definitely before our game starts Saturday. Sooner the better for everybody. And like I said, we're not fucking around this week. So we're going to get right into NFL. We're going to, we had a little bit Shafe 2-1, Melby 2-1, me 1-2. Some crazy games last week. How about that Colts game? Like, what are we talking about? A tie against the Texans?
I said it all season. O-line's not that good. Got a slower, less mobile quarterback that isn't as good. I expected it. I still took a money line, and I'm happy I did in a parlay because avoided it. But
I know, yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. Fuck last week. Because if we get into it, I'm taking the fucking Colts this week against the Jaguars. Even though they're away, I'm fucking taking the Colts redemption game. They're at 3.5 right now. Buy the hook, make it 3 just in case it goes to a push. But that, I think, is a money. Colts have something to prove after tying with the fucking Texans. Still on away, haven't been home yet, but it's the first week. They're going to get it going. I think Matt Ryan's going to come around. I think he's going to be all right. A lot of drops from that Colts team last week from their receivers. That's going to all come into play. I mean, we're just getting into the beginning of the season. I have Colts at 3. Take the hook. And let me see what that is real quick for you guys when you buy the hook. It's at 115 at 3.5. Let me see what we're at.
One thing to note in that game, Michael Pittman did not practice today with quad injury. He might be out. And the Colts have not beat Jacksonville since 2014 at Jacksonville.
About time.
They're due.
Here we go. And fuck Pittman. That guy has jelly hands anyway. So don't even care.
He had a great week. He had like over 100 yards receiving.
Ain't scared.
Pierce dropped 2 touchdowns.
Ain't scared.
You said Colts what? -3?
-3 at 134. Is what you're getting. President, what do you got for us for your first one?
First one coming out. I'm fading the Bears all year. I don't think they're a good team. They're a bottom 5 team to me, in my opinion. I'm a Bears fan. I hope they lose. Bring it on. Bring that first, second, third pick, baby. The Packers
the slip and slide, man. It's game over. I got Bears in the Super Bowl after that. That's the new shuffle.
Dude, that was such a crazy game. I mean, the Niners dominated that first half. I mean, they dominated.
9.5's a lot. 9.5 is what they're up against right
21, now. Joe. 21. It don't matter. Hey, Lazard is probably coming back. That's huge. Timing's a question mark, but Rodgers coming off being embarrassed, he is going to come and light up the Bears. I'm telling you. Book it.
When we think that, it doesn't happen.
What's the line on that? 10 or 9.5?
9.5 is where I got it.
Only I'm referring back to when you say that is when they played the Niners last year in the playoffs, and everyone was like, Rodgers going to come out, smoke them. It's in the snow, and just threw a fucking dud at the entire nation. So that's like what goes to my mind. 9.5's a lot in the NFL, as people would say. It's a lot of numbers, 2 scores. I mean, you want to change that line to 21 since you're so confident? Maybe 20 and a half.
I'll take the 9.5.
20 and a half.
Oh, hey, alternate line 20 and a half is, look at it, you know?
If you want some real juice, take a look at that.
Oh, yeah.
What do we got for that? Just to amuse you, if they're even gonna let plus 298 at 20 and a half.
Oh yeah.
I wouldn't touch that. That is a lot of points.
9.5 is tough.
Packers at 9.5. It's at Green Bay too. So I don't mind that pick. It's just a lot of points in the NFL. Just a lot of points. All right, Shafe, what do you got for us? Coming off a real hot week last week. What do you got for us?
Yeah, I'm getting a little ballsy this week in the NFL with some of my picks here. First one I'm going to go with is Carolina money line over the Giants. I am just not a believer in the Giants. I think this is a bit of an overreaction, this line, from them getting a win. Saquon's going to have a good year, don't get me wrong, but I just think Carolina has better weapons around them to make plays. I mean, I'll take Baker over Daniel Jones. Not like we got 2 good quarterbacks here, but I just think this line's a bit of an overreaction from week 1. And they really had trouble. Dontrell Hilliard had 2 TDs out of the backfield. I mean,
are you taking the points or money?
I'm going to take a money line.
Okay.
I'm confident they pull this off.
At plus 110.
Yeah, I just think Panthers bounce back. I mean, they lost on a bomb of a field goal, and they fought back into that game. So I just think they're the better team here, and I just think it's way over. You're getting some good value for a team that just barely beat Tennessee, and I think the bookmakers kind of are overreacting. The public's probably going to be all over the Giants after beating Tennessee, so seems like a smart pick here.
Yeah, I don't mind that pick either. I thought about picking this game, and I was honestly going to go with the Giants because I think Saquon's going to just have an outstanding year. I think it's a toss-up. Any team can win this, but it's a close one. That's a ballsy pick. That's a ballsy one to start off on. Any thoughts on that, Melby?
Yeah, you know, I was on the Panthers last week. That was a heartbreak. 6 yards.
I think it was good from like 70. That guy has a nuke of a leg. And everyone laughed that the Browns were drafting that kicker.
And he booted it. I would definitely take the Panthers, but I'll be worried about how many yards they gave up rushing and how Saquon might just have a nuclear game. But I mean, the Panthers, I think, is just a much better team.
Mm-hmm. I
Gotcha.
couldn't resist. Plus money line here. I just couldn't resist.
Yeah, I'm actually taking that trend for my next pick. I like what I saw out of Shapes Boy last week. I loved it. Hot start, down a little bit, came back at the end. So we don't give a fuck who's talking shit about me. I'm going Commanders money line this week against the Lions.
I'm following you on that. Love it too. Love it too. I'm a little biased here because Wentz is my boy and he balled out, dude. But there's so many weapons on that team.
They have so many weapons. Scary Terry's out there making guys look horrible if you're on defense. And then the Washington defense on the other end, they don't play games. They do
didn't
not
even
play.
I think they had the most quarterback pressures without blitzing last week. They only blitzed twice the whole game.
The Lions looked okay too last week against the Eagles. I mean, the Eagles were kind of fucking with them, and then they came back a little bit. And the Lions are dogs, as they're trying to show us. Their coach is a dog. But I just think Wentz, not that he's going to have an MVP season, but he looked good. He looked strong. He's got a cannon. The guy's always had a cannon. He's finally got some decent receivers to throw to, some targets. And the defense helps him out a lot. So I got Commanders. Are you also on that too, Shafe?
Yeah, and think about when Chase Young comes back. That defense is only going to get better. I mean,
yep.
And they've got the weapons that fit Carson's perfectly. I mean, you've got three dudes that can take the top off the defense. You got Curtis Samuels, Dotson, and McLaurin, and I think Wentz is one of only three people that could probably make that throw to McLaurin that he did late, or one of those touchdowns where it was like that 60-yard bomb. And then that one to Dotson at the end on 3rd and 8, where he just fit it right in the back of the end zone. I mean, they look good, and I think the public and the books are overreacting to the Lions. They backdoored covered that. I mean, what was it, like a 17-point game in the 4th?
Yeah.
So I'll take my chance with another plus money value bet there as well.
Do you guys watch McAfee at all? Today they had a clip of it's like big brain NFL players, and it's basically going through guys on week 1 of them being mic'd up and them seeing things that either the defense or the offense is playing. One was Scary Terry, who's hey, they're playing a weak cover 2 on me, weak cover 2, and then he's literally throw me the bomb. You're gonna play a weak cover 2, and then just took off a bomb touchdown. So I mean, he's a smart player as well. I really like that play. So
out of Indy, went to Cathedral.
Mm-hmm. Hey, there you go. Well, Indy boy right there for us.
And Ohio State.
Who gives a shit? All right, so Commanders, Shafe and I both on the money line. Melby, what do you got for number 2?
I watched a lot of that Raiders Chargers game, and I had a crazy bet. $10 win 1,000 with Giants and Raiders parlay. God, I feel $10 in a deep. Raiders -5.5. Cardinals look terrible. They're over under for total wins this season, 7.5. I mean, I think that defense is just Swiss cheese. A Raiders going to come mad. They're at home opener. Let's go 5.5. Okay.
So you got Raiders 5.5. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yep, it's been 5.5 basically all week.
I'm not. How's Devontae? Last week, didn't he tear it up?
Yeah, he killed it.
Yeah.
And his family's in town for this one, so I know he wants to ball out. Carr's going to force feed him all day. Yeah.
I mean, the Cardinals got crapped on, which I didn't expect. I honestly took an alternate spread on the Cardinals just to give them a little bit extra play room, and Mahomes didn't fuck around and said, I don't care who you give me as far as what I'm throwing to. I'm going to tear you up type of thing, which that game tonight is going to be fucking insane. So I don't mind that pick at all. It's at home. That stadium's so nice too. That Raiders stadium. I think it's fucking sick. You guys been to Vegas recently at all?
Oh yeah.
When you see that stadium, that thing's beautiful when you drive by that thing.
And right off the strip,
I think I'll be out there next month, so I'll be excited to see it.
It's beautiful because you literally got to pass it when you're coming from the airport to your hotel. Thing's a monster, and it's beautiful. You can see it from the runway, probably. I'm pretty sure it's a beautiful. So I don't mind that at all. I took Shafe's second pick, so I'm going to give him the start of the third pick. What do you want there, Shafe?
Yeah, we were all on the Broncos last week. They kind of shit the bed. So I think the line's ballooned up to 10 from 9.5 now, but I got it at 9 on Wednesday, minus 125. I'm just going to stick with that. I just think the Broncos bounce back here. Their defense couldn't get any pressure, but I mean, the Texans O-line is not as good as Seattle's O-line. And I mean, the only way they do well is if Dameon Pierce and Burkhead have a huge game, in my opinion. So I just corners should be able to shut down Cooks and some of their other weapons. OJ Howard, he really killed it last week, but I just think Russ and that team bounces back. They didn't play in the preseason, so it just looked like they had a lot of Russ getting the plays in, getting lined up. It didn't look fluid at all. So I think this week at home, I mean, they have a big time home field advantage when you're playing in Denver as well. So I'm going to take -9 Broncos, minus 125. I think they get it done this week by 10, maybe 14, barely squeak out a cover. But they got to get up early because if Houston gets up early, they're just going to run the ball the whole game like they did against the Colts and try and milk that clock.
Yeah, I mean, that game's at home for the Broncos, too. So that noise that they're dealing with, Seattle
altitude.
Yeah, altitude's fine. Yeah, it's at literally, you got it at 125 yesterday, you said. It's at 126. Yeah. So literally, you're the littlest of juice that you're ever losing on any of picks. So that's fine. I don't mind that pick either. I think they're going to come back strong. I think they're going to give Russ more responsibility, which they need to. Put the ball in that guy's hand and let him fucking cook. Like he's been saying.
They had 2 fumbles on the 1 yard line. Even if they score one of those, they win that game. I mean, what are the chances you have 2 fumbles on the one? I mean, that's 13. That's 14 points. That makes all the difference. So I think they get it done this week. That's probably my most confident pick of the week.
Let's go ahead and get my third pick since it's easy. I'm on the Panthers too. Let's +110. Let's go. Riding Baker again. He can't get me twice. Giants no good.
Yeah, I like that line a lot. I couldn't resist that plus money play on them. I think it's an overreaction to them going for 2 and winning that game. I really do. He's back.
My fucking shit overheated somehow. Fucking. How's that even happen?
That's all right, Joe. I took the host out. I gave my third pick.
Anytime. You gave your pick? Did you give your pick?
Yep.
Panthers. What'd you go with?
Panthers +110.
Isn't that what Shafe took?
Yeah, I don't know why you just didn't say you're tailing that earlier.
Yeah, why didn't you say that earlier? You literally waited for us to get to you to tell us a pick that's already been
I think he switched mid. I think he switched.
Well, I had two Monday nights, so I'm.
Yeah, thanks for filling in, Melby. Thanks for filling in. We'll fucking Jesus. We'll.
Hey, I have to hold the suspense, man.
Hold this. How is it suspenseful if someone's already taken it?
Yeah, I don't know.
You know, just the extra added, confidence.
Doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense to me. I'm going to go with my last pick, though, before my shit overheats again. Fucking crazy. I had to switch between devices. It's crazy shit going on. Last week, we saw a little bit of trouble happening with the Niners in the weather. Trey Lance couldn't handle it, couldn't handle the rain. This week, forecasted for more rain in San Francisco, going against the rivals against the Seahawks. The line right now is 8.5, which is a lot of points for Seattle, especially if they shown last week. If it's gonna get, raining, gonna get bad weather, ball's gonna have to stay on the ground. Niners running back got injured last week, so Deebo Samuel is probably gonna take over some responsibilities. That being said, it's pretty much known that guy is not trying to take as many blows that he did last year for the team because he was getting rocked all last year. He's trying to have a little bit of more longevity in his career. Understandable. So I'm going Seahawks +8.5 on the road against the Niners. Like I said, if it gets rainy, Geno proved last week that he's still mobile with the ball. He made some dumb decisions, and I'm not going to lie. There was some he did like a 360 crossfield pass that like should have got intercepted for some reason. But I'm taking Seattle plus 8.5. I think that's probably the safest bet of the week, especially Trey Lance coming off a rough week. Hasn't really shown anything to us. The Niners D doesn't mess around. Now let's be honest. They're a solid D last week. They couldn't close the game like they should have. We dominated first half, second half let them back in, and then as soon as that heavy rain, if you were watching that game, like the cameras couldn't even hide it. It was absolutely nasty. Monsoon season over there in Chicago. Crazy shit. And I knew when that rain come that the game was over. Whoever was leading that game was going to win that game. The throws that Trey Lance was doing, like he couldn't get any grip. He was throwing it 10, 15 yards over to the side. So I'm taking Seattle plus 8.5. I really like that line. I think it's maybe the safest bet of the week, honestly. So that's what we got there. Gonna run through it one more time for everybody. We got Panthers, Shafe and Melby both on that money line. Melby on that 9.5 for the Packers. If you're really feeling lucky, go 20.5, get some juice there. Commanders, both Shafe and I for the money line as well. And then Melby finishing it up with his picks on the Raiders at 5.5, and then me, Seahawks, getting 8.5. So really, I mean, when you look at it, Shafe, did you give your third and final?
Yeah, I did Broncos -9, Carolina
right.
money line, Commanders money line.
That's right. So the Broncos at 9 is what Shafe has, which really is the separator. We saw Melby pull this technique last week where he took one from me, took one from Shafe, and was really on both picks. We see it here from Shafe this week. So once again, when the team wins, it looks good for everybody. So we're going to stick with those picks. We're also going to give you our Monday Night Football picks right now. We got 2 games. We're spoiled this week. Real spoiled this week. I love when we get doubleheaders on Monday nights. I think it's awesome. And we're going to go into there. So the Monday night games we have this week are the Vikings, Eagles, and the Titans and Bills. Now that Titans-Bills line is pretty big, but we saw what the Bills could do last week against the former Super Bowl champs, the Rams. Is there anyone else not putting the Bills as the Super Bowl front runners?
I would put them as the easy favorite right now.
How could you not? How could you not at this point put them at the front runners? And then that Vikings game, after seeing what they did, they were at home, but they did mess up Aaron Rodgers and the Packers pretty well last week, and they're going against a Philly team that also looked very, very strong. Excuse me. What do you got for us to start off, Mr. President?
Well, I would start off with that Vikings-Eagles game. I do not think the Eagles are that strong. I don't think the Lions are that strong. I mean, they almost let the Lions come back on them. I still don't believe in Hurts. I don't think he can win with his arm. I think a Vikings money line strong play. I'm big on the Vikings this year. Super Bowl pick for me. Big time Vikings this week.
And I'm not gonna fuck around with anyone who's listening and wait till the end to give the same pick that you just gave, like you did early on. I'm riding that too. I think that is once again a very safe pick. Jefferson could go off for big time. He could put up big numbers. So I'm liking that a lot. Gonna go with the Vikings money line as well. Shafe, you got anything different over there?
I would lean that way too, but just to be different, I'm just going to take the Bills and then buy the hook -9.5. Just to be different. I really hate this line, but I don't want all of us on the same thing. We saw what happened last week. It was not good. So I'm just going to take the Bills. I mean, they dominated the Rams. I don't see why they couldn't do it against the Titans. That front seven on the defense for the Bills is just dominant.
Yeah.
For sure. And that was my third pick too. But I didn't want to do 2 Monday night games, but yeah. Big on the Bills, 9.5. I think they're going to smash the Titans.
Yeah, I mean, they should on paper, but I mean, any given week in the NFL, so you never know what could happen. It's kind of a lot of points. I hate doing more than like 6.5 on the NFL, but here I am doing it twice this week, so we'll see what happens.
Awesome. So, I mean, those are our picks. Anything you guys want to add as far as anything in the sports world? I saw a crazy fucking story before we go. And when I'm talking that we touch on all spectrums of sports, I'm telling you we touch on all spectrums. Did you guys hear about the chess world controversy that is going on? I know Shane knows what that laugh was going on right now.
That's mind-boggling.
It's mind-boggling. If you haven't heard this, Melby, look this up. This is real. It's like taking over the chess world right now. Who even knew there was such a fucking thing? But it's taking over the chess world. Apparently, this guy from the United States beat this one guy. I don't know if he was from like Sweden or where the fuck he was from, but this guy was like a former champ. He hadn't lost in like
highest ranked one, and the guy that beat him is the lowest ranked one in the field.
Yes. So like David versus Goliath, basically. This guy who lost in this match won like 52 or 53 matches in a row. This guy from the United States comes in, cleans him out, beats him, and I think they were like trying to like pat him down or something. Whatever the case is, there is a rumor, I don't know if it's been confirmed yet, that this guy who was the underdog in the American used in a sorry if there's kids watching, used an anal bead to receive messages on how to play against this dude. So using the vibration of this device, which goes up your bum hole, and it was having somebody, it had to be somebody, and
it's people have done it in the past where it's like a computer. So when you're about to make a move, it'll buzz and tell you if that's not the best move to make. But most people have done it like in their shoe or places where they can actually pat you down and see. Obviously, they ain't going in your keister. So there was a lot of controversy. That guy ended up withdrawing because he said, "I'm not going to let people tarnish my name like this. I beat him fair and square." But I also think it looks a little sus when you withdraw after that.
I mean, next match
we'll never know. But what a controversy!
I mean, if he's got nothing to lose, next match he goes in and he just bends over. The way I see it, he literally just like, you do what you got to do for the nation. And then if he gets blown out, then okay, we got a little bit of question. But if he wins that match, that's all he does. That's all he has to do is win the next match and show him his butthole, and then he's clean. He's literally clean and wiped up all allegations. But I saw that today and I was like, God damn, the chess world is fucking.
Who would have known?
Maybe that's what we get into. We get into some real drama.
They get some betting lines.
They got some lines. Yeah, what's that line? Well, I'm taking that guy. Who's got the bead in? Who's got the bead? But yeah, guys, another great week. Always fun doing this with you. We got a great game tonight. We got Chargers and Chiefs. That game should be a dog fight. If anyone's looking for a pick, I'm taking the Mahomes over on the rushing. I think it's like 17. I think every time they've played against the past 2 times, it's put up like 25 and 30. So hopefully that's hits. You guys like anything tonight before we get out of here?
I like player prop Eckler over 4.5 receptions. I think without Keenan Allen, I think they're going to be dumping to him. It'll feel a lot. Over 4.5. I think it'll get 10.
Anything you like, Shafe?
No, I'm staying away after my bad luck today on tennis. I need a day off. I mean, going 0-3 with 3 people that were dominating that somehow let people back in, and I lose in tiebreakers in the third set on all 3. I mean, it was heartbreaking to say the least. I mean, one was up 5-1 in the third set tiebreak and lost the match. She was minus 25,000 at one point. Like that is, and she was serving. So I mean, she had the next 2 serves. She would have won 7-1 if she just serves out the tiebreak. The other guy was up 5-2 in the third set. He was minus 20,000 or something, a ridiculous odd, and he lost 2 in the third set tiebreak. So I mean, I just couldn't catch a break today. So I think it's time to just shut it down today.
Sometimes you just gotta do that. Live to fight another day. Live to fight another day is what it's all about.
Did not follow my rule on not chasing, and I chased.
Yeah. Sometimes the chase works out. Sometimes the chase is not big.
Works out a lot. That's what entices you to come back, and then there.
Yeah, that's how they get you with the chase. Yeah. Straight no chase. All right. Well, anything else you guys want to touch on before we get out of here?
Nope. I think we're all set.
Cool. Once again, always a pleasure with you guys. With Michael Schaefer, the president, Tyler Melby, myself, Joseph Lim. We are the Bums. This is Bet for Bums. Look at that Twitter. If you guys like our picks, we did decent last week. I think overall between probably NCAA, NFL, and any UFC, we were on the plus side. But we're going to keep posting them every week. We're going to keep getting better. We're watching football 8 to 12 hours at least, mandatory what we're putting in. But yeah, enjoy the game tonight if you guys are watching. As far as the bums, you guys have a good week, and we'll see you next one.
Have a big week.